out of my like 3 years in community college, one friend that I made at community college knew that I was a Christian, and that was it. So when I started at Metro, like at the Auraria campus, I knew like I need to get involved with the campus ministry right away, so I don't have this like disconnect between Bible study friends and like school friends, and like have to keep acting.
I had some really difficult times where, I went to community college first and getting in conversations with people who did not believe what I believed, and just really difficult, confrontational conversations. And I was like, man, whoa, I actually don't really know. And, philosophy class, well, do I even exist? I don't know. Everything's up for grabs.
I go to CU Denver. I'm a senior there now. And I knew right away I had to get connected to a campus ministry. We had talked about that at youth group, and so that seemed like that was going to be pretty good.
I remember the first time I went and shared the gospel, I was terrified, I was shaking, but it was so cool to see that, college students are actually kind of receptive to this. Like, not all of them are just atheists. Not all of them are humanists. Like, some of them are actually pretty open and talking about spiritual things.
I had the opportunity to be on like the servant team and be on the evangelism team, and I got to like go evangelizing. Like, that's kind of something the master plan staff like encourages or like makes you do. It's a good thing though. It's like really good because I've been wanting to but didn't know how. So I went like out and talked to people with Scott, and I like felt more alive, I think, than I felt doing anything else. Like, I just knew like this is what I was made to do, like this is me like hearing the Holy Spirit and actually obeying.
But once again, God has been faithful to preserve my life from going in crazy directions, and He answered that with Master Plan.
So my first week, I found AMP, and AMP also rocked my world again in amazing ways. Just the way that they've built me up and like poured into my life, and so then I started being discipled, and I learned like, there's a thing called quiet time, which I had never realized, and I like needed to pursue God outside of going to church on Sundays, and I could know Him even deeper than I had ever known Him before, and have a deeper faith in who He was and the promises that He had for me. And then I learned what it looked like to go to Bible studies, and not just to go to Bible studies, but that I could lead Bible studies, because God had I have the Holy Spirit, and like God will do it through me. And what it looks like to lead Bible studies, and what it looks like not only to be built up, but to also build other people up, and to be able to disciple other girls. And so that has just transformed my entire relationship with God, obviously.
Master Plan, I got trained, like we get trained with the KGP that Linda mentioned earlier, the Solarium, a lot of different great tools that make us comfortable with talking to people. And just this last year alone, by the grace of God, I got to help lead 3 different people to Christ. The first one, which was the first one ever, his name is Alec. He's a student on the Auraria campus. We met up. I remember that morning I did not want to meet up with him because I was like, I don't want to meet new people and talk so early. And I did anyways, and we talked for 2 hours, and I went through the whole gospel, and he just had so many questions, and I answered them. And towards the end, I'm like, hey, like, is this something you want to do? Like, do you want to accept Jesus? And he's like, yeah, I think I need to. And I was like, are you sure? Like, you get what I'm saying, right? And he's like, no, yeah, man, like, it makes sense. Like, I think I need to do this. So I got to help lead him to Christ, and that's been amazing to disciple him, and that's been incredible just to see his fruit, the fruit that's been bared from that. Just a few weeks ago, his dad came to Christ. Unfortunately, he passed away in surgery, but like, this man gave his life to Christ before he passed away. Like, that's amazing, and that happened through this ministry.
We went to Albuquerque, as a lot of you might know, and started like a master plan campus there, or master plan club there. And with the cotton candy table, I was just like kind of sharing the gospel with a bunch of people, just basically reading from this little like track that we have, the KGP is what we call it. And this one guy came up, and I read through the gospel, got to the point where I was like, okay, is this something you'd ever want to accept? And he was like, yeah, it is. I was like, what? okay. So I was like, okay, let's read this, like, let's read through this prayer, you know? I was like, is that something, like, does that prayer sound like something that's, like, true about, you know, the desire of your heart? And he was like, yeah, it is. So, like, I prayed with him, and I was just like, whoa, that's crazy. Okay, so then the really cool thing was, we did this conference that a lot of you also probably know about, Rocky Mountain Winter Conference last year, and he came to that, and, like, he was hearing about how to share the gospel at that conference. So then he said to me, like, wow, like, I just realized you got through all 4 what we call sound barriers, where you, like, meet the person, start a conversation, start a spiritual conversation, share the gospel, and ask for a decision. He was like, you got through all that with me, and now I'm here, like, involved in master plan. I'm at this conference, and I'm going to be sharing this with other people on my campus.
You know, like, and then you're in the middle of downtown, you're like, oh my gosh, there's 40,000 people here, and, you know, everyone's doing crazy, awful things, and I felt so alone, and so I was like, okay, I'll go to that group. And so I went, and it just was like a drink of fresh water. It was like so encouraging to me to be like, oh my goodness, okay, there are actual Christians here, they exist.
So not only have I been built up through this ministry, but I've also, like, learned what it looks like to go out and build other people up, and it's just been, like, such a special thing to be able to do that with my mom, my favorite person.
Another person I got to help lead to Christ was a co-worker at work. At work, we're not really allowed to talk about Jesus, but what's cool about Master Plan, I've kind of been trained to initiate conversation in a way that's completely natural, not this weird, like, me bashing with the Bible, you know, and you know, she was just asking me about my life, and I happened to mention church, and I just got a whole spiritual conversation going, and she accepted Christ, which has been amazing.
I remember one time at AMP, this cute girl got up and was like, hey, I run the evangelism. If you ever want to come, let me know. And I was like, that's a good idea. So me and Linda started going evangelizing, and we kept on evangelizing, and lo and behold, started dating. Hey, look how that worked out. So that was a big plus. But Master Plan has been so instrumental in my college experience and my experience as a Christian in growing, in learning how to evangelize, and learning about discipleship. And it's been so important to me that I've decided, actually, I just graduated I think that was last week. I don't know, it's been such a blur. I don't know where I am or what day it is, but no, I've decided I'm going to be an intern with Master Plan for the next year. So I'm on staff for this year, and I'm really excited to continue learning from the staff. I think they have a lot to teach me. I'm excited to continue going and evangelizing on campus, and I'm really excited to see what God's going to do with this ministry this year. So thanks for your time.